I could go on and on with what we have, but let's bring in our guy, Huddle It Up Film's finest, the guy who knows film and players and facts that I wouldn't even remotely even think about is joining us. And I should say, that's Jason. Happy New Year, brother. So good to have you back.
Hey, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Jason, and you've already got fans in the chat. You've already got everybody's excited to hear from you.
I see. I was in the chat earlier supporting my guy Engraven. What you said about him is spot on. One of the most genuine people, open arms from the first day. He didn't know me from anybody, and has welcomed me. I've been on his program before, so football is family. So happy to have you guys part of my family, and just honored to be part of this program. Thank you.
All right, so Jason, let's just go big picture here. I guess I'll ask you this. You've been studying film all year. Big picture, what are things that have stuck out to you in this offense, since it's a new offense, that's just been like, this has been great to see on film?
I think it's Lamar's control at the line of scrimmage. I think it was time for it. It was a little bit overdue, in my opinion. I know, Sarah, I went back and forth with you about the Greg Roman and changing from that. But nobody sees the field quite like the quarterback in real time. And these defenses are making adjustments in real time. And the Bengals game, of course, the first Bengals game, there were a lot of highlights, a lot of great plays, but we saw great signs in that game, just from a perspective of the head games at the line of scrimmage that Lamar was playing with the Bengals. And I think John Harbaugh gave Lamar a game ball in the locker room afterwards. And he said something to the effect of, we're not going to talk about it here, but you know why you're getting the game ball. And for me, I'm like, I know why they're giving him the game ball. It was because he was playing chess with the Bengals and outmatched them. Okay, you guys want to come to the line of scrimmage? I'm going to make a check. I'm going to hit a quick slant to Nelson Aguilar that almost goes the distance. Okay, you guys want to check and play back? Hey, I'll burn you with my feet if I need to. If everything's covered and 8 guys are in coverage, I'll pick up 8 yards in the first down. So this control at the line of scrimmage, it's time. Like, every player gets better mentally in the game. It doesn't matter what position you play. Your physical skills fade, but you become more and more, your eyes get better. You get more and more used to it, just like anything in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So I love Lamar's control at the line of scrimmage. And I heard you guys talking about Mike McDonald a lot. It does seem like he's going to go, but I'm really hoping that Todd Monken stays from a continuity standpoint, because I don't want to see Lamar go through yet another coordinator. I think this offense is just getting started. That's the most beautiful thing to me, is you give Lamar another year in this system with the same terminology, some of the same guys, and just watch the offense reach its full potential. I don't even think we're there yet.
So, Jason, the guy that we asked you to do what you do best on and share with us is not only a first-year Pro Bowl honoree, but a first-year All-Pro, somebody that the Ravens spent the 14th overall pick on a couple years ago. Saw a lot of criticism on this, especially locally. If you listen to local radio, perhaps you thought he'd be a bust. How could they dare think that Kyle Hamilton would be a good pick at 14? Only kidding. You got to drag some folks with receipts when you can. But
that's right.
We have more than 5 minutes worth of Kyle Hamilton tape that you've pulled up that you're going to talk us over. But before we do, just set the scene here. Just how special of a year 2 has it been for 14, and what does he mean to this defense?
Well, it's been so special of a year that, when you asked about the film study, I didn't just want to pick 3-4 plays and spend 10 minutes on them and explain every single detail of the play. I put together a 5-minute compilation of his best plays, and when I do his highlights at the end of the season, I'm going to be cutting off plays that would be in others' highlights because of how special he is. But his flexibility to this defense has been talked about a lot, and it's really the key point when it comes to Kyle Hamilton. Being able to line him up in the slot, being able to have him threaten the edge from the slot. At strong safety, we'll see some plays at strong safety as well. And I think it would behoove the Ravens going forward to have some depth at both slot cornerback and strong safety, so they can continue to move Kyle around as this chess piece, because he himself can take away your best weapon. So if you're going against the team with a good tight end, you keep him at strong safety, you can pretty much erase that tight end from the game plan. Now you only have to worry about their number 1 receiver. If you want to cause chaos with a quarterback, maybe gets happy feet, you want to get pressure, you want a strong running team, you put him in that box, man, and watch him blow up some of these run plays and pressure the quarterback. So a truly versatile player, had a true first-round grade on him, had him higher than Jordan Davis, didn't think he was going to be there for the Ravens, and was so happy. And he exceeded even my expectations. I mean, I think that what he's been able to do covering slot receivers, we saw it last year. He's carrying Deontay Johnson and some of these, quick slot receivers down the field on deep routes. It's just amazing that what he can do. It's really, what can he do? And that's nothing on the defensive side.
Shall we get to it?
Let's get to it. It's a compilation of plays, and you can pause it whenever you want, Bobby, and we can talk, but we'll just kind of talk over it. A lot of these plays everybody will be familiar with, and we'll be able to go down memory lane, but what a versatile player.
Yeah, I think what we'll end up doing here is letting it run from a feature capability standpoint. So we'll let it run a couple times. We'll let you go here. I mean, we may have questions interjecting, at some points, but this is 5 minutes worth of 2023 tape on Kyle, correct? Only 2023?
That's it. And this is the best of the best. I mean, there are other plays that I cut out, so tried to make it as short as possible, but it's Kyle Hamilton we're talking about.
All right, here we go. Again, an all-pro honoree, Pro Bowler, and we'll see what he's able to do in the postseason, but we'll take it away, brother.
So you see him there, strong safety. C.J. Stroud, the first game, Roquan gets the tip, and look at the range on that, how far he comes to the first down. Strong safety a lot. Watch him blow up a running play here or a screen. You see what he did to that blocker. Number 2 is still on the ground, gets in on the tackle. Of course, Roquan like a bowling ball. Strong safety again. You see him in the deep half. This time he's going to pick up the Bengals slot receiver, get in on the play, knock it away, force a third down. Now we see him kind of hanging around the line of scrimmage, and he's going to face up on Tyler Boyd here. Bam, he's going to knock that away. So passes defensed as well. And everybody remembers this game against the team in Indianapolis. We're going to see a couple of more of these coming off the slot.
They couldn't adjust, Jason. They could not adjust.
No, Gardner Minshew, you'll see the running back a little late on this one. And you see the coverage that's what Mike McDonald does is he'll take away that first read. So he knows where the Colts are going to want to go on this play. Has faith. There's a run blitz right there. I think he set a Ravens record for tackles for loss, broke Ed Reed's record. Again, screenplay to his side. There's just no chance. You don't see players in the defensive backfield make plays like that, act like the blocker is never there. And again, here we finally get to his third sack. This is all in the first half. He made all these plays, and the fateful fumble that we couldn't recover there. But yeah, he's just a special player. Here he is again, swatting down the screen pass. So if you're going to run something to his side, it's just lights out. Browns game, you might remember this. Same kind of play, different result. Gets to walk in. Love the way he tosses the ball here too. Like, get out of here. How about his physicality on Jerome Ford here?
Oh.
So he can play like a linebacker as well. You see him back at strong safety again. This is a hustle play. Now, the guy he's chasing, Pierre Strong, ran a 4.28, I believe, at the combine. No quit.
Wasn't Hamilton supposed to be slow?
He was too slow. Yeah, the field speed is very, very important. This is an interception. Poor DTR. This finally put him out of his misery in the Browns game. As he's going to get the pick there, but you got to include the pick. I mean, Kyle will want a pick on his highlight tape here. Finally against the Steelers, and I hope we do see them again. Watch him blow up this screen pass. Darnell Washington has no shot at getting to him, and then let the boys come and rally around him. Number 13, Miles Boykin running the slot. Pretty good throw. Put it where only Boykin could get it, but better defense. Back at strong safety again. This is Sam Laporta, the Pro Bowl rookie, I believe. Pass defense there. And you can see why I just decided to play these plays instead of narrating each one. Another tight end coverage. Trey McBride had a really tough game against Kyle Hamilton, another promising second-year player. You see Kyle switch to the tight end side. The play's designed for the tight end, and he's all over it. So it's not just speed, it's instincts. You can see him read the play so quickly down here on the goal line again, quick stop route. Now that's a ball that's going to be completed, what, 60, 70, 80% of the time, just a quick turnaround and stop, not while Kyle here. How about Hollywood Brown with the ball?
Oh my gosh. And
Wallows
he blew by that blocker.
Blows by the blocker. He'll blow you up or he'll blow by you. Run blitz again, another tackle for loss there. So they can use him as a weapon in the run game as well. Here we go. Sniffing out that screen pass. Could have had an interception there. I'm sure he wants that one back, but that forced a third down. How about Keenan Allen trying to block him?
Nope.
No. Tackle for a loss. So really, what does the other team want to do, and how can we use Kyle to take that away? Here he is covering a fast receiver down the slot. Geno Stone's there as well. No, or it might have been Marcus. I'm not sure. Kyle breaking that up. Screen pass to Keenan Allen. Nope. There's the extendo arms. I know you'll have Qadri Ismail on later. Calls him Inspector Gadget. Go Gadget arms. I think that's a great call there, because he does use his length. It's one thing to have length, but you have to be able to use it as well. And so it fade, little post corner route there. In the run game again, Kyron Williams, the Rams' main weapon, erases him, and he doesn't just want to tackle you. He doesn't want you to get another yard. There's another amazing play. I think he's going to have another one here, another run blitz.
They're so fast. He gets to the backfield so fast.
And that's a great point, Sarah. The way he's able to disguise it too, and then just time it up. This is a play that he's going to intercept a few, more times than not. Knocks it away from Ridley. And you'll be familiar with this when everybody sees that. This is kind of a gimme interception.
Oh, yeah.
But again, you got to put that on the highlight tape. The 49ers
he him a little bit there, didn't he, Jason?
He did, but he didn't have another route to cover. So the 49ers really kind of blew that. And then this is the play that's going on every coach's tape. He gets the chop block, just keeps alive. He gets his third interception of the season, maybe third or fourth. I'm sure he has 3 or 4, maybe 4. I'm sorry, Kyle. And we're winding up here. Slot, again, a high percentage throw. It's a quick slant to the slot receiver. Your quarterbacks are going to complete 60-some% of their passes. So when you're going for quick slants and stuff over the middle, quick hitters like that, you're looking at passes that are completed 80% of the time, not on Kyle Hamilton. So quickly becoming my favorite player. I love watching the way the Ravens use him to take away whatever the other team's going to do.
You know what I loved about – sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to me, you can't watch that 5-minute clip and not think that this dude covers so much space in such a short amount of time. And we know that, right? We know that his measurables being that he's the son of a guy who played professional basketball overseas in Greece, shout out Derek Hamilton, we knew that those were going to be some of his traits and attributes, especially up at the line of scrimmage, the way that he can sometimes – affect the quarterback's vision or get tips on balls or whatever. But the way that he's able to close, and given those measurables, Jason, like lateral quickness doesn't always come with that, right? Like forwards and centers in basketball, that doesn't always come with it. But for him, he just seems like he is quick as a cat, whether it's laterally, straight line, or just closing on these guys in space, especially against the run, getting to the quarterback, like you mentioned, the Colts game with the trio sack. That's been, I think, one thing that stood out to me this season. But then when you watch the film that you just picked, you can't not see it.
Yes, and his lateral quickness is very underrated. And like you said, Bobby, this is a tall, and you see by his build, you don't usually see bend or lateral quickness with somebody with that body type. It's almost impossible. And the way he's able to move, and I remember him and Adafio Wayne went back and forth with who would win a basketball game before him, because both were basketball stars. And I'm telling you, Adafi can move, but Kyle, I think he could cross over most of the Ravens, whether they were 6 foot tall or however quick they are. Just love Kyle Hamilton. It was important, I think, to be able to get him rest in that Miami game and the Pittsburgh game, and now with the bye week here coming up, because we're going to need him. And, it's just, we saw in the 49ers game how physical he was with Debo and being able to man up with somebody his size. And then in the Miami game, I think when they were threatening the edge and having success in that run game earlier, as you could tell from the tape, that would be a spot where Kyle would be perfect for to take away HN and some of those backs that like to run that outside zone system. So wherever you need him to be, he can be, and is just a dependable player. And you look at the core here with Roquan on defense, with Lamar on offense, but let's just focus on defense. With Roquan and Kyle, those two pieces right there are going to set the Ravens up for success in these next few years.
Yeah, I feel like I have so many questions for you. Let me first say this. Number one, the package that you gave us, you hear so much the word versatility like you did to set it up, but then to see it in back-to-back play where like 1 minute he's in the slot, the next minute he's defending the run, the next minute he's blitzing, the next minute he's at strong safety, and then the next minute he's guarding a tight end. I didn't see him too much in free safety, but the Ravens have that kind of covered. And that doesn't mean he can't do it. It's just they have that covered. So it was awesome to see that. Where I feel like when he's been gone, I felt it the most, again, screenplays, and then thinking about the opponent they could draw on the Browns, and you talked about at the beginning how he can erase a tight end. Well, to me, if you were to take Njoku away from Joe Flacco, if the Browns were to come to M&T Bank Stadium, that would be massive for Hamilton to be able to, I don't know about erase, but certainly take him away as like this weapon you can keep going to for 150 plus yards.
Exactly. And, something I was disappointed in early in the San Francisco game, and I apologize, wife's coming home from work, so a little noise up there. But dogs love to greet their mom, so you know how that goes. But something I was disappointed a little bit in the San Francisco game was, if you guys remember the first drive or two, George Kittle was going off on us. Yeah. And what the 49ers were doing is they were setting their strong side to the Marcus Williams side on the left. And the Ravens were not switching that up. They were leaving Marcus Williams at free safety, Kyle at strong safety. They were exploiting that matchup. And it's no offense to Marcus Williams, but when you're talking about manning up on the tight end and the range and the physicality, that's where you want Kyle Hamilton to be. So the Ravens still have some adjustments to do and some work to do. But, yeah, David Njoku, you saw Geno Stone try to tackle him in that second game, and it was – he's just a tough tackle. And, again, it's not to knock any other Ravens. But Kyle brings that physicality. And something else he's been able to do, Bobby, the Ravens, if you remember, Sarah, we were talking before the season, and I was one of the few people to call that we were going to play a nickel defense, that this was a four-man front, that we weren't going to miss Bowser a whole lot because we weren't going to ask our guys to drop a lot. But what Kyle Hamilton brings to the table also is allow us to play that six-man box. So you got your four big guys up front. You got Roquan and PQ, two studs in the middle. But that seventh guy lurking is Kyle Hamilton. So if you need to bring a seventh guy up into the box and play against a heavier package, Kyle Hamilton is there to help support that run. So you can stop the run in a nickel defense, which is just huge for this team. You can play the pass or the run.
So we got you for a couple more minutes. We're going to be primarily talking about offensive line stuff, obviously, with the guru himself and your friend Cole Jackson coming up later on in the show. But we have to ask you, yes, it's been sustainable to this point, but do you think that the tackle rotation will be that in the postseason? Will it be sustainable in the postseason?
My only worry is that it hinders what Todd Monken can do. So if you have Daniel Faalele in again versus Morgan Moses, then maybe you need Ricard in for that drive. Maybe you need to call quicker passes. They put a fast edge rusher over against, or a bad matchup for Faalele. It may change what you're going to do on offense. So I think the Ravens have shown that they can score no matter if McCary's in at left tackle or Stanley, or if Faalele's in at right tackle or Morgan Moses. But I do think that, this is a matchup league. Individual skill sets come into play. So, just like if you play Myles Garrett, you have to call the game a certain way. Well, if you play a certain right tackle or a certain left tackle, you've got to call the game a different way. So I think that it limits. It's a good idea. It's kept the guys fresh. We've scored with no matter who's at tackle. But I do think that that's something that you would prefer not to do. You would love to have the same five guys in there all the time and have your best five on the field.
Hey, real quick, somebody that obviously has overcome a lot of personal challenges and hasn't broke out so much in terms of production, but what have you seen from Rashad Bateman from a film standpoint, and how do you feel about him going forward?
I feel really good about Rashad Bateman, and the sad thing is the two most important things you need from a wide receiver is health. That goes with any player, and the ability to catch the ball. And those are the two things he struggled with. But I have to say, there's nothing that he can't do on a football field. There's no route that he can't run. He is a versatile player. He can run you slants. He can slug and go. He can run deep. So I love the way that they're trying to get him involved early in the game. And I don't know if it feels like this to you guys, but it seems like all season they want to get Rashad Bateman his touches early. He may, if he's getting 3 catches in the game, it seems like 2 of them are in the first 2 drives.
Yeah.
I think what has hurt Rashad Bateman is that he's by himself on one side as the X receiver. And on the other side, you've had Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. So a lot of times what's happening is Lamar's reading the strong side of the field. And I'm going to look at Andrews, or I'm going to look at Zay, and then I'm going to look at the other one. And if they're open, I'm going to hit them. And that's happening more often than not. So he doesn't have to get to his third read or come across the field. So I think it's going to be on Todd Monken to get Rashad Bateman to call plays where he is the first read in that progression, because he's winning. There's stats out there about how much separation he's getting, and he leads the league in separation. And I think that a lot of that is valid. Some of it is, the cornerback knows that the play is going to the other spot, so they kind of drift off of them. So maybe the separation numbers are a little bit deceiving, but no, Rashad's getting open.
We can't wait to have Jeff on, as we have up on the screen here, Jeff Zrebiec of The Athletic, later on in the show, because his piece out today on Rashad was just yet another, man, he's just so good at what he does, Jeff is. But this quote right here stood out to me, and clearly it did to Jeff too, because it's in the caption. Quote, "What we're chasing this year is bigger than how many targets I get." And Sarah said it, kind of setting you up there with the first question. He has overcome a lot. He has endured a lot off the field. But the growth and maturation to say a quote like that after you've had what I'm sure statistically is another disappointing year, right? At least availability wasn't disappointing, but statistically was. But for him to say that and have the greater mindset and the greater goal in mind, to me, shows you that Rashad really has come a long way. And hopefully, for his sake and for this fan base's sake, his best is yet to come.
So much agreed, especially when you have another first-round wide receiver picked after you, and he's getting all these flowers and all these accolades and breaking rookie records. It would have been really easy for Rashad to,
yes,
even if he didn't say anything publicly, to feel some kind of way, and maybe he doesn't say much and is a pro about it, but he seems genuinely happy for the other guys in this locker room. And you said it, Bobby. I have a feeling that there's going to be a big play made by Bateman in this playoff run, or a matchup where, okay, the other team is maybe they got a good number 1 corner, and he's plastering Zay, or Zay's just, it's just not a good day for Zay, and they have a good plan for the tight end, where we're going to need a third guy to step up. We're going to need somebody at that X on that other side. Maybe their right cornerback isn't as strong as their coverage on the left side. We're going to need Bateman to step up and make a play, and he's totally capable. I would love to see, obviously, the Ravens win it all, but I would love to see Bateman make a big play in a big game because he deserves it. And I'm looking at that franchise or the 5th-year option tag. It's pretty steep for a wide receiver, very steep for a wide receiver. So chances are Rashad's going to be going into a contract year next year. An important time for him personally. So to see his kind of unselfishness is beautiful to see, and it speaks to the culture of this team.
Are you confident enough, Jason, in Bateman that you'd be like, okay, we're ready to move on from OBJ, and we'll move forward with Zay, Bateman, and say you re-sign Aguilar because he'd be probably more affordable?
Well, we'll have Bateman next year. So yeah, OBJ, I don't think is
since Bateman's here, I'm saying, because you have him for another year and it's a contract year. Are you now comfortable saying I'm cool moving forward without OBJ?
Yes, I think the Ravens have to think about life after OBJ, period. There's an argument to draft another receiver this year. And people may say, well, we got weapons, but I think Lamar could really use another guy to grow with in this offense, especially if you can bring back a veteran like Aguilar, somebody you can depend on. But again, just to have some continuity with that, what type of wide receiver you want to bring in next year to complement Bateman, Zay, and Mark Likely is going to be a really good discussion. I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on, like, do you say, oh, well, we need a guy, we should spend a first-round pick, or we should spend big money on a T. Higgins who may have his eyes on Baltimore as a destination, a lot of connections within the team there? Or do you say, you know, we're pretty good at wide receiver, maybe we'll just draft another younger guy in the 3rd or 4th round? You know, Duvernay's moving on, Tylan Wallace in his last year. So how to attack the wide receiver position? Man, there's no right answer, and I bet you the Ravens fans are going to be all over the place on how to do so.
I'll tell you this, because of our Steve Young conversation and some other things that I've been thinking about, I am not okay, like, just saying goodbye OBJ and we're good with basically Zay and Bateman. Like, not to say that they, you know, wouldn't be able to step up. And maybe if you'd asked me a couple years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's totally fine. But I just feel like when you have an MVP like Lamar and you see what he's capable of, you keep building around that. I love seeing him not having to be Superman all the time, and it's only when he needs to. So that being said, we just had Brian McFarland on the show, which you may have listened to, and they're trying to, like, maybe franchise tag Madubuike, all that. So I guess what I'm leading to is you probably know better than me you definitely know better than me what this upcoming draft class looks like. I would not shy away from going again to the well, and just, especially because I feel like Eric DeCosta has been drafting wide receivers better than we have in the past. I have more faith in him to find somebody still earlier in the draft. I'm not talking about like a 4th or 5th rounder. I'd still be happy with a, you know, top 3, top 2 round wide receiver and keep reloading for Lamar.
Well, and the beautiful part about it is, Sarah, you know, when we were coming up and doing this kind of thing and working with the Ravens, all your best athletes were running backs. You look at the top 100 players in California, for instance, you know, 50 were running backs. Now they're all wide receivers, and it's trickled into the college game and it's trickled into the pro game. And this draft in particular is very deep at the top. Now I'm concentrating on this Ravens season. We have a big goal to accomplish, but it doesn't mean that I'm blind to my passion, which is the draft. And in this particular draft, you're going to be able to get a receiver or any other position that would be, say, a top 15 pick in, you know, the last year or the year before at 30, 32 when the Ravens win the Super Bowl. So it's really top heavy. You're going to have quarterbacks. You got stud edge rushers at the top. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. at wide receiver is going to go. You got starting tackles. You could get a franchise right tackle in the, you know, late in the 1st round. So there are going to be plenty of options. But to your point, Sarah, the wide receivers are so much more developed and pro ready now that you can get a starter in the 2nd round if you wanted to, or a role player. You know, maybe we want a bigger receiver. I think that would serve Lamar Jackson really well. You see how well he works with the tight ends over the middle. Okay, well, next year, what if we have some depth issues at tight end again? Somebody goes down. Well, we have a big slot receiver we can move around and get that matchup and get somebody that's really quarterback friendly. So I have my eyes on a few guys for sure. The Keon Coleman kid out of Florida State, I have like big eyes for, like any kind of like big receiver that you want to comp him to. I've seen the Des Bryant comps. I've seen the you know, the comps to other big receivers. He matches up really well with those guys. With great feet, big receiver. But yeah, I'm with you, Sarah. We're a pass first offense. I want to throw this out there. The numbers would suggest that the Ravens run the ball. I mean, it's a fact. They run the ball more than any other team. But fans have to realize that a function of that is the Ravens having big leads in many, many games. You remember early in the season, why are we taking the foot off the pedal? We could have really stuck it to them. The Browns game, the Texans game, we had a big lead. Obviously, Seattle, Detroit. So a lot of our running the ball and running these carries are coming in the 2nd half. When it comes to 1st and 10 or 2nd and 8, we're a pass-first offense, and we've showed the willingness to do that early in some big games.
Ooh, I like it. I cannot wait to have you back on for the draft. But like you said, there are bigger things going on. But the way you're speaking about the tackles and the wide receivers, the offensive talent early, you got me excited, Jason.
Me too. Yeah, look, let's keep Madubuike, though. Let's do what we can to keep Madubuike. Because you got Madubuike. You want to know a big reason why Jadeveon Clowney and Van Noy are having career years and Adafio Way's getting pressure. Credit to those guys. But Madubuike clogging up the middle and Michael Pierce unblockable when you block him one-on-one. He's going to have a fun highlight tape on Huddle It Up Films at the end of the year. There's nowhere for these quarterbacks to step up. So you keep Michael Pierce with Travis Jones in that middle with Madubuike, and we're going to be just fine with our front four rushing the passer. And then, of course, on level 2, you'll have Roquan and Kyle.
Jason Smith, Huddle It Up Films. We're up against it. Hey, we just got to peel back the curtain a little bit. We moved you around several times. So for you to have that flexibility, generosity to stay much longer than what we had talked about prior does not go unnoticed. We can't wait to do it again, to Sarah's point, whether it be in the draft or whether it be next summer. It's going to be both. Let's be honest. We're going to have you on before the draft and before the roster cut down day as well. So let everybody know where they can find you. I think a majority of people that are tuning in already know. And man, where can they find that Kyle Hamilton clip other than on this stream? Because are you going to be doing anything, or have you already done it on yours?
No, I haven't put that up. I put that together special for this show. So, at the end of the year, we'll have highlights on all the Ravens, offensive linemen, you name it. I'll have their best clips. Keaton Mitchell, I think I'm going to release his highlights soon. Man, miss Keaton Mitchell. And also, you can follow me at Huddle It Up Films on Twitter, X, whatever they call it now, and Huddle It Up Films right here on YouTube. Also, just wanted to say the Steve Young interview was wonderful. I had never seen Sarah quite like that. It was awesome. She looked like she was going to cry at the end. And Bobby, I have so much respect for you. I commented this on Twitter, but Steve wanted to talk. Sarah was in another world. And to have such a big guest, a Hall of Famer on your show, and for you to just kind of lay back in the cut and, just manage things and not just speak out, I thought it was an excellent professional job by you, Bobby. I didn't think you got enough credit for that show. Obviously, Sarah was all over it. But I love you guys. I can't wait for the draft. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jason.
Football's family.
Much, man. Can't wait to do it again, my man. Thank you so much. That Kyle